So today from Bali, I'm giving you a really beautiful view. I was listening to this guy, Tom Karen, I think is his name, and I really resonated with some of the stuff that he's saying. So I thought we would watch his video and um, I could relate it to the Law of One Tarot. And it's about manifesting desire and doubting it. So it's swinging between desire and then doubting yourself. So let's get started.
So confident about it. She goes, and before I would have been hesitant to even talk about that or even predict that I'm gonna hit this idea that we talked about in our sessions. Remember, your desires are a metaphysical door into parallel alternative versions of yourself already experiencing those desired realities. This was important to lay this groundwork, as I've talked about before. She was actually referring to a video where I talked about it. That here you are in your current reality, this current version of yourself. Remember, that real you is untouched. That violet you, I am the real you, is untouched. But you have this.
So the real you that he's talking about is a significant self right here. It is the Hierophant for the mind complex, and then the Hangman for the body complex, and the Sun for the spirit complex. And remember this Sun card. So this is your real I am, the untouched I am that is nothingness, yet it's everything. And who makes it everything? You make it everything. This 3D catalyst makes it everything. So we are everything, yet we're nothing, right? That is divinity. The reason that exists, nothingness and everything, is because we flip. Remember this experience, fourth density, the heart, the tesseract, when it begins expanding and your consciousness expands with it. That's what's happening. This significant self, which is where the Fool card or the choice, which is, in my opinion, the God card, this is when you begin to really utilize your free will and you begin to make choices of self-awareness through this catalyst. And then this I am significator through the heart flips onto your third density catalyst, and now the I am, the nothingness, yet everything, is no longer a desire. It just is. So then it just manifests as it just is, because that is your true I am, and you can manifest anything through your true I am. So that is what he's saying there.
Current reality or this current version of yourself. But remember, your desired reality, your new reality, that desire to see another part of all that you are, another part of that another 0.00001% of all that you are, that's the door. That provides a door to those other realities, all these other versions of yourself, already experiencing those realities. That's why you have the desire. You couldn't desire it or imagine it if there wasn't a version of you already experiencing it, right? This is the spillover of realities, right? These are the realities that are merging. And then you have your new desired reality. So that your desires are a door to everything you want. They're a door.
So what he's saying here is that without observation, so without 4D, without this experience here, we wouldn't desire anything in the 3D. So we actually need the 4D, because the 4D is the observation. Remember, the matrix here is complete awareness and beingness. That awareness and beingness needs observation. The observation happens through the 4D, the heart chakra, the tesseract. So what's happening when you're observing through 4D, time and experience, is you are looking and observing the unconscious mind catalyst and the potentiator, the subconscious mind. This observation is how you grow, because remember, the matrix here is absolute beingness and awareness of, it's no judgment, it's just being. That's all it's doing. the experience through the heart chakra, that is what's expanding your consciousness. That's what's expanding your experience. And this is why it is the observation. And if you have an eyeball, imagine like your eyeball is here. This is the eyeball, but the eyeball is looking this way. It is looking towards the catalyst and the potentiator. And that's what he's saying there. Without the experience, you're not going to have any desires. So this observation of the experience, the fourth density, is absolutely required in order for this space. Remember, the catalyst is space, the experience is time, in order for the catalyst to begin to create duality, because you've got a desire that you want, but we're naturally, because of what is in our subconscious mind, naturally what's going to happen until you put observation from the experience onto it, naturally what's going to happen is the subconscious mind is going to just create, there's desire, the good part of desire, then the bad part of desire. So what that happens is it creates a constant pendulum swing to one side depending on how you feel, your emotions towards what you want. Are you afraid? Because 4D is where your feelings are deposited, and then that mirror of your feelings is brought back to you from this 4D. See this through the body complex, the strength card, it's brought right back and deposited into your chakras. And the way it's deposited is not only into your body complex, so the body complex gives the strength card 4D a mirror of how it's really feeling, only truth can be told, and then 4D brings it back to you, gives you that equality of feelings, and it does it by showing on the in the external environment. It brings you back the people that you're having, or experiences that you're having that biggest feeling, which is your duality towards. So if you're feeling a lot of fear towards your desire, most of the time the pendulum is swinging to the left, let's say, you're going to see that from the external environment through 4D, because 4D projection, it's a wave of energy. It projects energy outwards because it is your chakras, but it's happening in the 4D through the strength card. Temptress projects it outwards, again that wave, into this 3D environment, earth, and then it brings back whatever is in your chakras, the catalyst.
Or to all realities in all time. Pretty powerful. That's why you desire it. That's why you have that spillover, right? That bleed through of other realities in the form of desire. You see this? So we covered that. That was the first thing. And then I really want to say, remember, the 3D focused personality, this guy, this 3D focused personality, right? Not the real you, but the 3D focused personality feels separate from those other versions of realities. And you feel that as desire. That's really what's going on, right? That 3D focused you, that's focused in this time and place, in this time and space, feels separate from those other versions of realities, and you feel that as desire. That's not supposed to be a bad thing, that you feel it as desire. You want to close that gap. You want to close that and know that you're not separate from it. That's the real key, that it is a door. In other words, it's a...
So what he's saying here is the separation is created through the potentiator. So see this yin and yin together? So it's kind of like shadow and shadow, darkness and darkness together, darkness upon darkness. So your potentiator right here is what's creating the separation in this 3D, and this is what your experience is going to be. So your desire will be separated. You're going to feel like it's separated from you, when really, when you get into the significant self, you're going to know it was always there, because the significant self doesn't judge anything. You can desire anything, but it's the potentiator, or your subconscious mind, that's constantly potentiating the catalyst, dark and dark, yin and yin, until observation is put onto it through your experience. The emperor puts observation onto the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind, and this is when you really truly begin to ask the whys. Why am I thinking this way? Why do I think I can't get it? Why? Where did this come from? Always ask the whys. The whys, when you ask them, are going to bring you to your significant self.
a door to all realities, to all versions of yourself, where you can experience another new desired reality anytime. So, but remember, the paradox is that you can't desire, want, or long for anything that's not already yours and already who you are. So there never is any separation. Do you see it? You wouldn't even be able to, the definition of desire means there's no separation. But for us, it feels like separation, right? You wouldn't even be able to imagine, assume, or think about it unless it was already a reality, that an alternative view.
So what he's saying here is this, like what I just said. So the no separation comes from the significator of the mind complex, of the body complex, and then of the sun card, which is the spirit complex, which is the midpoint of this galaxy that we have. So you are the center point of even the sun. Do you see this? The center point? You are the center point. You have all the information that the sun has. You are not separate from it. We have all the wisdom. This here is wisdom and light. But because of this potentiator here, it is very difficult to see that because we're really looking at darkness and darkness. And the light only comes through observation and asking the why, because the I am doesn't judge what you want. You want it? Come to a balance in the feelings. It doesn't care what you want. You want a shit ton of money because you want it? Well, that's okay. Then make the choice to be okay with enjoying that shit ton of money the way you want to. The significator doesn't care. That's your I am.
A version of you, an identity of you, is already experiencing in an alternative parallel reality, right? Therefore, your desires are a metaphysical door into the more than 99.9% of all that you are, into that 99.9% that currently is unseen and not perceived by you. It's a door to all of that, and then you get to decide what you're going to focus in on in this 3D experience, this horizontal linear experience. Very powerful. Right? All that you are, and you're currently not focused in on the current 3D manifested experience, that 0.0001%. So therefore, your desires are a metaphysical door into the more than 99.9% of all that you are, currently not focused on in your current 3D manifested experience, or in other words, that 0.0001%. All of it. You're focused here, but there's that 99.9% that you're not focused on, and you get to choose from that. Very powerful. So all desire, or all desires, comes from that divine urge of consciousness to know itself as consciousness, right? Awareness, to be aware of itself as awareness. All that is to know itself as all that is. That's where all desire, but we translate it into this feeling of separation, a feeling of lack.
So what he's talking about there, I sense, is he's talking about the experience. So this is the observation, right? And he's talking about the matrix, which is really interesting to me because the matrix is your complete beingness, your complete awareness. But your complete beingness and awareness cannot expand without this experience of the heart chakra, fourth density, which is observation. Your consciousness, your awareness and beingness is nothing until this experience is put onto it through observation, and then expansion of consciousness occurs when you contemplate. This contemplation then brings you to your significant self, which is here, fifth density. But before you get there, you've got to go through the yin potentiator, you've got to go through the unconscious mind, the catalyst of the third density, and this is your separation. But yin and yin here, and awareness, yang, and then you have your observation, which is also yang. Isn't that crazy? You've got yang, yin, yin, yang. You need this yin and yang together, because without this yin, the shadows, the awareness is just awareness. It's nothing. It can't do anything. The movement of this awareness comes from the subconscious mind, and you need movement in order to observe anything and grow your consciousness. That's why the potentiator is one of the most important, the subconscious mind is one of the most important energies to look at and overcome or be friends with, be okay with, come to okay, it is what it is, the hangman of the significator of the body complex, in order to grow your consciousness.
a feeling that we need something to be whole or complete, to experience that unity from which we come and of which we are made. But that's what that comes from. It's a creative urge to demonstrate life in more life. After all, that's what consciousness is. It's just life. That's what God is. It's life. It's existence. And it has an urge to continue to exist. It always will. But what's that urge to create, right? For consciousness and awareness to be conscious and aware, or to, in other words, to be consciousness and awareness, that is the beingness or the livingness of life, that isness or absolute changeless reality. To be that, it must be conscious and aware of something. That's where the divine urge comes. That's what life is. So the consciousness must be conscious of something. So it always must be changing and focusing into something else or something. To be aware of it. That's the same with awareness. It's constantly manifesting change to be consciously alive and aware. That's big. One more time. For consciousness and awareness to be conscious and aware, or to be consciousness and awareness, that is the beingness and livingness of life, that isness, that absoluteness, that changeless reality, it must be conscious and aware of something. Therefore, it's constantly manifesting change to be constantly alive and aware. That's where that divine urge comes.
And there you go. There you go. There you have it. He just said it. This is literally just to keep growing and keep growing into the next density, our consciousness to expand. This awareness will not expand on its own. That's why it's the matrix. It needs the patterns of the mind. It needs that. It needs the womb of the matrix, the spirit complex, in order to keep growing. This body complex, this density of the body, is a tool for consciousness to grow. That's what it is. Our organs are the material manifestation of this significant self. That's what they are the ones that are either deterring our conscious growth or excelling it by really embracing the chakras and working on balancing them and putting them into alignment. When we do that, then we can surrender, and then we can give death to our old ideologies. And the temperance card is new water in your body. It's a new form of thinking. It's all of that.
That's where that divine urge for change and for us always desiring something new and different and more. Do you see it? But the paradox is we are already that. But we do have that urge to keep moving, to keep changing, to make life and more life. That's powerful today. So the Father, the absolute isness that we've talked about, the source, the law or the Lord of Scripture, that changeless reality, from that beingness is born. The Son, the awareness, I am, your I am awareness, consciousness. It's alive, right? The divine mind, within which you are a divine center, right? And from which you are, and with which you are one. So you're one with this divine mind. You are a center of it.
That's crazy. We just talked about this. The divine mind, the sun card, the significant self, the spirit complex of the significant self is the sun card. Look what's in the center of the sun. It's you. It's your divine mind. And this center is also the middle of these two people, yin and yang, holding hands together, which are again the center of this circle here. Isn't it so awesome how all of this stuff, when you resonate with certain YouTubers, you resonate with what they're saying? I'm just glad I have the law of one to my whys to answer why am I resonating with these people. The law of one actually gives me a tool in spiritual pathways and growth, which makes me feel like, okay, this guy and myself, our thoughts, our consciousness is in resonance, and this kind of gives me like 3D proof and evidence. I love the law of one, tarot. I love it so much.
So if there's an urge of that consciousness and awareness to be aware of something or conscious of something, to constantly change into something, because that's what it does. That's what consciousness does. Consciousness is conscious of something. Awareness is aware of something. Other than this pure awareness of the Father that there's nothing outside of the absolute. It's only in this first manifestation that you have that. This beingness, this awareness in this one life manifests or change in the changeless, in order to live, to be conscious and aware of something. But it's never changed or never defined by anything that it's aware or conscious of. That's the difference, right? Because we become aware, we're conscious and aware of it, but then we identify with it. Yeah. And now it becomes, the divine urge turns into desire, an attachment to have it, a desire that I need to be this or I need to have this. Do you see it? We identify with it. But that beingness, awareness doesn't. But it always has the urge to change into something, to be conscious of something, to be aware of something, right? That's it. So again, the beingness, awareness, and one life manifest changes in order to live, to be conscious and aware of something as a necessity of its nature. That's its nature, as all infinite power and all potential, not as a desire to be complete or a desire to be whole or because it feels lack or something. That's not it. It's just because that's what it does. That's its nature. That's the nature of reality, right? I am and I am not is impossible. So we're the ones that create the lack or the feeling that I am not. It's just I am deciding.
So that's exactly what we were talking about with the experience. This is just the heart, or sorry, the significant self. It doesn't care. It just wants to grow in consciousness, but we create the separation through the subconscious in the unconscious and the unconscious. We create the separation through desire, whereas it's already done. When you hit up the significator, it's already done, but you have to, once you put time to it, the experience, fourth density, you put your observation to it. If you're in the lower planes, meaning like fear, lack, that kind of stuff, that's going to get in the way because it's mirrored back to you from 4D. That creates more separation. Time now is creating separation in space based on your organs and the electricity that's running through your chakras in your body. Is it static? Is it moving quickly? That's how much you're going to go this way, vertical, to the divine, the sun.
What I am is going to be aware of, but never identifying it, never being changed. The changeless is never changed by any of it. Never identifying with it, never getting attached to it like we do. That's powerful today. The real you, the I am awareness, your higher self, that is one with the Father, that's one with that absolute reality, the law, the isness, desires nothing. It's already complete, whole in all things. So the real you desires nothing. That creative urge is just part of your nature, right? To be conscious of something or be aware of something. But it doesn't desire anything, right? That's the true meaning and power of it is done, or I'm in Barbados, right? It's done. Your consciousness, your awareness is already in Barbados, waiting for you. Waiting for you. Where are you? Because your consciousness and awareness is in Barbados, but where are you? That's the question. Your true home is the spiritual plane. That is infinitely above the physical plane. That's your true plane. That's what it means by degree of positivity. Infinitely above in degree of positivity to the physical plane, right? Nothing can be added or taken away from the real you, the I am. On the physical plane, this divine urge or desire to be conscious or aware as life is translated into a feeling of lack or separation or incompleteness. Incompleteness. Do you see it? It's translated into that. But your true home is that spiritual plane that in degree of positivity is infinitely above the physical plane. So you have to remember, the more aware you are of your I amness, the higher in frequency and vibration you are, the more positive you are in degree of positivity to those planes of reality that are less positive. So you have total dominion over conditions in manifested reality. We just don't feel that because we feel a desire. We feel that lack. Very powerful today. This desire to be complete and whole can never be satisfied on the physical plane. That's why Buddha and the other spiritual greats called desire the root of all suffering. That's what attachment really means. That's the definition of attachment. You suffer when you believe you lack something or you're separate from something, and that you can never get it satisfied on a physical plane, no matter how much you desire or manifest, right? Desire can only be truly satisfied by becoming more aware. In other words, more conscious of your true nature. And hear this, consciousness and awareness, that is its true nature, to be more aware, to be more conscious. So it's you just following that divine urge to be more aware of who you really are. Your true nature is I am awareness, where you desire nothing out of need and attachment, but just to choose to know yourself experientially as source. That's it. It's choosing. You're not desiring your desire, as we talked about in other videos, but choosing your desire.
So what he's talking about here is the choice card or the fool card. Let me see if I can find it for you. The Law of One Tarot. This is why I believe tarot images. The Fool card. Let's see if I can find it. So this card is extremely important in the Law of One Tarot. I believe it is the God card because the Choice card. Okay, here we go. So this here is the choice card in the Law of One Tarot. And to me, it's absolute divinity because it is paired up with your I am. So the choice card is just on its own. It's the 22nd card. And it is paired up with the significant self. So the choice, when you take the choice to be more self-aware, because the point of 3D, the learning lessons, is nothing but self-awareness. When you take that divinity card and you make a choice, because you do have the free will of choice, when you make the choice to become self-aware, you access your true self. You access your I am, which judges nothing. And what that does is right here, it shuts up and melts away attachments and desire. That's how powerful the choice card is. It is extremely powerful. And you have the choice to do whatever you want. But it starts with self-awareness.
You choose your desires versus desiring your desires right now. That's why it feels like lack or need,
yes,
or it doesn't feel good.
Yes.
Right? This is the meaning of rising in vibration, choosing your desires versus desiring your desires. Mm-hmm. You see, it's about choosing them, not desiring them. That's what it means to rise in vibration, rise in frequency, rise in the degree of positivity, where you have directive power over the physical manifested world, where you have directive power, willpower, right? All power over that manifested reality. You have dominion over heaven and earth. When you know yourself as that I amness. That's powerful. Let's continue. Remember, the real you, I am, desires nothing. That changeless desire for nothing. It desires nothing. But being more aware of your true nature, you can turn your personal desires, right? Those desires, those 3D desires, of the 3D personality into a choice. So it's not the desires, it's not whether something is an ego desire or a higher level desire. It depends on the state that it's coming from. If it doesn't feel like a choice, if you don't feel like you have free will to not desire it, hear this, if you feel like you don't have free will to choose not to desire it, then that desire becomes an attachment. Then that's what you might call a lower level desire. But remember, it's not the desire, the specific desire, what you desire that determines whether it's a low level or high level desire. It doesn't matter whether it's money or an SP or a great job or anything else, a house, doesn't matter, right? Whether it's money or not doesn't matter. What matters is where's it coming from? Is it coming from a feeling of separation or lack, or is it coming from that unity of who you are, right? Is it coming from a choice, or is it coming from desiring the desire? Right? Remember that none of it defines you, right? But you believe it does. So where is it coming from?
Unity of who you are. Is it coming from the unity of who you are? He's talking about the spirit complex of the significator, which is the sun card. This dot within the sun is the unity. See those hands? Is the unity. See this earth? Is the unity of who you are. Is it coming from the unity of who you are? Or is it coming from this faith, which is still 3D, of like, I can have it, I can't have it, I can have it, I can't have it, but I do have faith. Faith will push you into the yin yang space time, but again, it's the dark. You're still contemplating the shadows. But when you come into a place of absolute unity of I want all of this money, this travel, whatever you want, without desire, without the attachments, you just know that you want it because it is your I am. That's powerful.
Right? Are you being more aware of your true nature? Right? You're turning your personal desires into a choice where they don't define or complete you, but rather they are a choice to experience a part of all that you are. That's what makes the difference.
There you go.
So if you want a lot of money
There you go.
and be rich,
It's not the the catalyst that you create through the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind. We feel like it's gonna it's going to define who I am. But when you come from the significator, it's not that at all. It just is your I am. It's just who you are. You make the choice. You've just made the choice of this is who I am. This is how I want to live. And that's why a lot of people who utilize the manifestation, they say act like the person that you want to be. Because when you begin acting like it, that component of desire, you're making the choice of acting like a teacher. You're making the choice of making these videos because you love to do it, but also you're acting like a teacher. And with that, with choice made, the desire of having more YouTube followers melts away because now you've made the choice that you are a teacher. You do know a lot about the Law of One Tarot. You've read it lots. You've studied it for years, and you will continue growing your consciousness. I'm talking about myself. And now I've made the choice that I am a Law of One teacher, learner. I am. And I'm a learner teacher of the Law of One too, but you know what I mean? That's what he's basically saying. The desire is lost then.
Rich, there's nothing wrong with that. People that judge that as an ego desire versus God's desire, that's just a judgment. That's just a 3D judgment. Nothing's wrong with any of your desires, ever. The question is, from what state of being, from where are you desiring it? That determines whether, quote, it's a low level or a high level desire, whether it's coming from lack or love, whether it's coming from already feeling complete or feeling incomplete. Remember, you are detached from the need for those desires to complete you when you desire it as a choice, to experience it as all that you are. Do you see it? You rise above labeling your desires as good or bad, and its opposite is bad, right? We desire that desire is good, and the opposite is bad. That's what creates the swinging back and forth from really wanting it to doubting it. Do you see it? Labeling one as good and the other as bad. You create duality. You create the relativity. You create the separation now. Whereas you just see them both as good and very good, and that you can choose one over the other. That's what free will is. Because when you say that you really need something, that you have to have it, that implies you don't have the free will to choose not to have it. Do you see it? And that's what creates attachment. And you're swinging back and forth. I really want it, but I doubt it. I really want it, but I doubt it. We've talked about.
That's really important what he said. That's very important. So you have to want it, but it's okay if you don't have it. That's the key to reality transurfing. You have to act like Vadim Zealand talks about how you have to, whatever you want, it has to be as simple as walking to your mailbox and grabbing your mail. That is what he's talking about. Exactly what he just said. You have to be okay with not having it.
That, right? You swing back and forth from what you believe is positive and negative, good and bad. But it's not about that. It's that they're both good and very good. You get to choose, and then you stop swinging. We're going to show this in a few minutes. So, non-attachment is an aspect of your true nature as I am. You don't need anything to be complete or who you really are. That's true free will or freedom of choice, right? If you have to have something, attachment, this implies you don't have the freedom or the free will to choose its opposite or something else. That's what that's implying, right? To truly have free will, your true nature, which is freedom, which is free will, it must include the freedom to choose not to have your desire, or else it's not free will. With no free will, you're moved between cravings and resistances by your subjective tendencies, and you're swinging between attachment and doubt. So that's what it means to be driven by those subconscious programs. Right? Because when you have a strong desire, that's what you're driven by. You're no longer making a conscious choice. You're giving up your free will, even though you think you're free. Right? You're giving it out. And now you have no free will, and you're moved between those cravings and those resistances by your subjective tendencies. You're swinging between attachment and doubt. Wow, that's powerful. Do you see it? This is what I've presented before. Here's your horizontal experience. This is your I am. This is your changeless reality. All of it's changeless. Right? But when you're swinging with that pendulum, remember, some of you ask, how do I stop the pendulum? It's not about stopping the pendulum. Change in the changeless reality is how we manifest. It's how we experience life. Mm-hmm. It's how consciousness becomes conscious of something. It's how awareness becomes awareness of something, by movement, by change. So you don't want to stop the movement. You want to stop the big.
So right now he's talking about the subconscious mind. This is movement and it's development and movement. That's exactly what he's talking. That's why the subconscious mind is so key and so important. Second density, your orange ray, basically your womb, is so important in 3D. And it's not about stopping it dead center. It's about appreciating the shadows when your pendulum swings this way and being okay with the shadows, and then appreciating the extreme good. Let's call the great way here the extreme good, and appreciating the extreme good because you are the I am. You are the significant self. It's okay right here. Surrender. It's okay.
Swings. You want movement, but within the vertical of that I am, of that changeless reality, right? That awareness center. The horizontal linear experience of change in the changeless, but not swinging between I desire it, I want it, and you judge that as good. And then on the other side, I doubt it, I fear I can't have it, and you judge that as bad. That creates the swing. That creates you not manifesting what you want, or manifesting or moving to lifelines, or having an induced transition, as we talked about reality transurfing, where you move to lifelines or film rolls that are even worse than that, right? That are even.
So when he's talking about the vertical, he's literally, in my mind's eye, talking about this card right here, the body complex of the Catalyst 3D, which is I think it's the Wheel of Chakras. So we need to move vertically in 3D in our body complex, and we need to open up the meridians of the chakras, because the chakras, once they're open, they're the ones that are going to connect you to the great way. They are the ones that connect you to the higher self, your I am. How do they do it? Because your chakras are nodes. We emit energy on our energetic field on the outside is what's going to connect this way to your divine self in order to pour in more consciousness. That is why going this way, we are following just spiritual pathways right here, which is fine. It just takes longer. That's all it is. The mind, to get to the great way, if you're going to go horizontal with the pendulum swing, it might take 20, 30 lifetimes, because you're going to go through the matrix, you're going to go through the potentiator, the catalyst, the experience, the significator, the transformation, the great way. Then you might go back to the potentiator because now you have to solve another issue. So the pendulum swings happen when you're moving this way in the Law of One Tarot. These are the pendulum swings. Good, bad feelings. Oh, got to get rid of the old emotions that are keeping me down. Why are they keeping me down? Constant contemplation, which is not bad. But if you want that divinity, change your diet, eat right, which I know is hard to do, and just get those stem cells going, get the body, get the organs happy, get the red blood cells, going, the oxygen in your body, breathe right every day. This is what's going to open up the channels and access the nodes of consciousness. It's like the matrix then opens up. It's not in this box anymore. And it starts, I believe it's right here. Consciousness lies right here. It's the attachment of the bottom of your brain right here in your spine. I believe that's where consciousness is, the node for consciousness, and this stuff is held. I don't know why I believe that. I'm not sure why. Why? I don't know.
Even more unwanted, right? Remember, there's still movement and change, but from the awareness center, from the awareness that nothing defines you, that you're not defined by that that's not who you are, that you're not attached to it. You don't need it to be complete. You already know you are complete, right? You don't judge it one as good and the other as bad. Nothing as more important or less important. It's all equal. It's all unity. You make it a choice. You're grateful. You take it for granted that it's done, that you're in Barbados. That's the key. Make it a choice. Be grateful. Take it for granted that I'm in Barbados. It's done. That's how you stop swinging between desiring it and doubting it. I am your host, Tom Karen.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Tom Karen. Thank you so much for this vlog. And I appreciate all your consciousness. Okay, love you guys. Bye.